When I started my other channel, Magic of the North, and this is now a remake of the video that got me 3,000 subscribers. It was called, I think, Anyone Can Paint This Simple Paint Along, and I was not really expecting how it would be received. So that's a while ago now, and I have decided to start a new channel, this channel, where I will be focusing more on those kind of painting tutorials who are easy to follow along. You're of course welcome to go check out Magic of the North as well, but that channel will be more about the spontaneous landscape painting, whereas in this channel we'll be keeping it a bit more hands-on, so to speak. So I decided that I will make a remake of this video, and let's see what happens. I mean, it would be wow if this video gives me just as many subscribers. I'm not counting on it, but so here we go. As you saw, I started putting color on a glass. It is watercolor in tubes, and I used Rockwell Canada. Now, exactly what color you use is not really of importance. I wetted the paper before. It is not 100% cotton paper. If you have that, it's great, but you don't really need it. But the paper is 300 grams, so it is quite sturdy. You don't want a paper that is too thin. And while the paper still is a little bit wet, I use a liner. This is a 3-0 liner. And start to pull out some branches on the sides. I did not have any plan. I just took a glass and I added paper, put it on the paper, and I make things up as I go now. So there is no really plan on beforehand what I want this to look like. Although I can say that this one, as you saw in the beginning, you saw the finished paintings quickly in the beginning. This one is going to be a bit more stylistic almost. I will keep it to these two trees. And just continue to add a few branches, and of course I have to add a bit of roots. I had that in my other video as well. These are so much fun to make. You'll see in a bit when I make the other ones. You start in the same way. You apply color on a glass and you put it on paper, and yet you don't really know what you will get. So your painting might just look a little bit different than mine, but I don't think that is super important, because it's more important that you kind of keep up with these steps of color on glass, wetting the paper, make a print, look what you have. You can also let it dry completely before you do anything. I continued to work a bit on it while it was still a bit wet. You have to, have to experiment a little bit and get to know the paper and how it behaves. But since these are so easily made, you can just, go and make 5 of them and try different things. I thought it would be nice to just put a little tiny house here in the middle. I think it ended up almost being like something from a child book or something. A little chimney, a bit more grass maybe. I mean, we can ask ourselves, is this a tiny house or is it huge grass, or are the trees tiny, or doesn't really matter. Some birds. Always need birds. You can make them with a brush, you can make them with a pen. Now I go in with a little bit of yellow gouache. Yeah, putting in some windows. Someone is at home. You could add a little moon here if you wanted to. I did not, for the sake of keeping it simple. I take my Posca pen, a golden one, and add a few dots. You could use acrylic color, or you could use metallic color or gouache and just make a few splashes with a brush. On to the next one. This is perylene green. No, it's not. I'm lying. It's olive green. Sorry, but you could use perylene green. You know, or undersea green, or whatever color. You can go all wild and take purple and red by all means. Applying it a bit on the rim. Wetting again. And this moment, I really love this moment. When you lift the glass from the paper and you look at it and you see, I wonder what will happen. I sprayed a little bit more with it's a tiny little spray bottle. It used to be catnip spray in it, but now I have it as a water bottle. When I'm painting, it's a perfect size. And I'm moving the color around, the paper around to make the color spread. And I help the pigment a little bit because I really pushed it in the paper, so it didn't really want to move. So I just took my little brush and helped it move a bit. And then I have a piece of toilet paper, remove a bit from the color that I didn't want in the middle. It has now dried. I take leftovers on my palette. And can you see it has not completely dried? It was a bit wet there, so it's starting to spread, which is fine. These are not made to be perfect pieces. These are made to be enjoyable. They are basically, it's basically not possible to fail. Because just put the glass on there and then you have the ring and then you add a few branches and you're good to go, right? And a few cross draws. Again, I had not any plan for this. I just dipped the brush in color and go. So you can see the branches are not perfect. It doesn't matter. It's the overall impression later that is important. And again, some roots. I think this piece is a bit more gloomy somehow, darker, of course, because it's a lot of dark color in there. By the way, color, I think the colors are a tiny bit off. At the end, when you see the photos, I think the photos are the one that are most accurate. I decided to put in just a tiny little fox. Now, you don't have to do this. You can just take and put in a few red splashes maybe at the bottom, or make some little dots that could be flowers or mushrooms. But if you're daring, you can put in a tiny little fox. And I just added a few red dots up in the tree somewhere, just so that the red is reoccurring somewhere in the painting. A little bit of white on the tail. A bit more dark on the ears. I splash a bit of gold color on it. And here I use this acrylic marker. It's from REMADE Art. I just received it in a Christmas calendar. And that was done. And on to the next one. You see, these are really quickly made. You don't have to sit for 45 minutes and figure out a composition and is this balanced and should I put this there or there. It's so quick and it's so much fun and it's so enjoyable. and you won't even be thinking about that you are actually making a painting. While this is very wet still, I mark where I will put trees, and these are going to be pine trees. I remove a little bit of color in the middle again with my toilet paper, and I take my hair blower. Yes, thank you, hair blower. And when you use the hair blower, think about, you will notice that you can move the pigment on the paper. So be a bit careful so you don't just, go all in on the highest speed, and be a bit aware how you hold the hair dryer, hair blower. Yeah, you know what I mean. And here I am starting to add in a few pine trees in kind of pale color. This is also leftovers on the palette, a mixture between azomethine green yellow and green. And to be honest, I like how this turned out soon in this pale state. I think it's nice now. And somehow I think I should have stopped there. But sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just have to keep going. So when you look at the photo in the end, it's going to be quite different. It's going to be way more dark, and it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, it happens. And how does Bob Ross say? Happy accidents. So doesn't matter. You're going to hear me say this a lot on this channel. It doesn't matter. We are not here to compete with anyone, not even with ourselves. We are here to enjoy ourselves, and I will hopefully create a space where that will be possible. I don't want you to feel any pressure or any kind of, I cannot do this, because yes, you can. You definitely can. Even if your trees look a bit different than mine, that is totally fine. They should, because you should make your trees. What I add here in the foreground is just a little bit of scribbly-dibbly-doo to give the illusion of grass and branches and yeah, I just add a few red dots. Instead of putting a fox there, this might be mushrooms, huge berries, flowers. Again, it's just, we can decide for ourselves what we want that to be. Go in with yet another bit of dark. And yeah, you saw the piece turn out a bit differently, right? I liked it better when it was paler, but sometimes you just have to keep going, and you can't move, turn back the clock. So, and this is going to be the last piece. I wanted it to be just half. Spraying a bit again. These colors are azomethine green yellow and Rockwell obsidian brown. The blue is a bit off. It is not this aggressively blue in reality. Again, the photo in the end is better than this right now. I don't really know what happened there with the lightning, or no, not lightning. No, no lightning. The lighting. Adding a few trees and branches again, a little gnarly tree. I won't be linking color, exactly what colors I've been using, I think, in the comments, or will I? Well, maybe I could if I remember, because I don't want you to feel that you now have to go and run off and buy Rockwell Canada's Obsidian Brown, because otherwise you will not be able to make these paintings, because it's not like that at all. Use what you have. You will need watercolor in tubes. If you would decide to subscribing on this channel and to follow along and watch my tutorials here, you will very likely want to buy some kind of watercolor tubes of somewhat good quality, because I do use pans also, but I mostly use watercolor tubes. I really like the Rockwell Canada colors. I love Daniel Smith. I have some Schminke, the super granulations are nice. I have a whole lot of Van Gogh as well. And a bit of red gouache. I'm putting in a little red cloaked person, and I did that in my very first video as well on the other channel, so I think I have to put in a little Red Riding Hood here. And of course a few roots. And not really adding much more here. I mean, we could add more persons or a deer, but again, I want to keep it quite simple. It's just to give you an inspiration. Last time when I made this, I saw a lot of these popping up on Facebook. It was so much fun seeing suddenly everywhere people were making these, and they look all so different. So I really loved that. I splashed a little bit of silver color on there. I decided to add a few more birds, and you don't have to use a brush, you know, no need for that. You can use a pen instead. See, the colors here are much better. It looks like this, not as in the video. So this was it. I hope you enjoyed following along. Go now and paint these little circle worlds, and I would love to see you here soon again. Let me know in the comments what you think. I hope this will become a nice space for you guys. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.